Hi, this video is going to be around the Chosen One prophecy and what I've picked up in the Jedi Temple on Act 2. Before I forget, I just want to say that in the Dark Side Cave, you can actually see the letters RE on the right side of the mirror wall in massive capital letters, and I believe that that is there to indicate both Ren and Rey and them aligning and balancing the dark side and light side aspects of the Force. Okay, so back to the Jedi Temple. It first occurred to me that Disney has a penchant for inserting hidden letters in their movies, and I had wondered if something similar had occurred in Star Wars, and I looked at the Jedi Temple in greater detail as a result of that. Think SFX, or should I say sex, in The Lion King, and touch scene coming to mind. So back down to business. When examining the cave walls, I noticed some lettering, and the first one that stood out was the word Ben on an angle on the left side of the opening out onto the ledge. Upon closer inspection, you can also see Rey intersecting Ben's name, which is really interesting because I believe in the novel Rey ponders the fact that when the Force bond opens up and that they're talking, that if she walked towards him, would she basically intersect with Ben. Then above their two names, you can actually see a ruin for balance. I think it also has additional meanings, such as harvest and fertility. So I think we can guess what that symbol over the names is alluding to and what will happen in the Rise of Skywalker. Also in the Jedi Temple, we can see other people's names, and one of them is of our beloved Luke, as he is ascending the steps to the Jedi Temple. Inside you can see the beginnings of the letter L, and as you sort of move around, well, as Luke moves around, you can see the U, the K and the E, which I think is quite nice because Luke is ascending and moves on to another plane of existence, although it could mean that he has further development as a character to undergo, and we see his interaction with Yoda and then him coming to the rescue of the Resistance and facing Ben in the most non-violent way possible, the absolute epitome of the Jedi teaching that the Force is never used for attack, only for defense, and is a complete reversal of his initial thoughts of ending Ben Solo's life in his hut while he was sleeping. Moving on, because that would open up a whole new can of worms if I explored that topic. and I will explore that topic in another video. But back to the Jedi Temple and seeing the names of Ben, Rey, Luke. Additionally, on the right side of the opening, we see a face and we also see the name Annie. It's quite small, the lettering, but it is clearly evident. But interestingly, it's not the name Anakin that you see, but the name Annie, which obviously was his name in the Phantom Menace, and I think pertains to the innocence of the boy, although some would actually say that he was quite devious in how we kind of sort out Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. But that we later find out in the Revenge of the Sith novel that he always knew that he was going to be a Jedi. Anyway, the main point that I want to get across was Anakin wanting to free the slaves, but also questioning why people don't help each other anymore. And that was Anakin's natural state. That was what was instilled in him as a child by his mother. And you are left wondering that if the Jedi didn't interfere with his subsequent taking away from his family, would things have developed differently? The other name I think I saw in the Jedi Temple was Leia's. Now I can't be certain on that, but without a massive TV and a magnifying glass, I'm never going to know. Unless Lucasfilm want to invite me to the set and let me investigate personally, which I don't think is going to happen. So all of these little discoveries in the Jedi Temple had me wondering about the Chosen One prophecy. How was it all connected? And also looking back at the prequel trilogy and comments made by Mace Windu and Yoda about the prophecy, and whether it was correct or was it misinterpreted. Now we find out that the Jedi Temple was the first place for the beginnings of the Jedi Order, and that the Prime Jedi was based there. Now, did this Chosen One prophecy come about through this so-called Prime Jedi seeing the names on this wall, or not just all the names, but only the one name, hence resulting in the one term being used? Back to the letters in the underground Darkside cave. Did the Prime Jedi go exploring and also see these letters, RE, and think to tie them to the letters that appear in the Jedi Temple and come up with the idea that everything should be balanced, that we should incorporate both the dark and the light side, and hence adopt that philosophy for themselves, which could be why we see that nice mosaic on the ground with a half black, half white figure. I think it's very much, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Who knows, maybe we will find out or maybe we won't. And Disney will leave that answer very much open. Exploring further all these names on the wall and how they're tied together, definitely obviously through bloodline, genetics, obviously passing on those amazing highest number of midichlorian levels ever found in Anakin on to his offspring. But does that, or doesn't it, explain Rey's involvement? Now, I very much know that there are some people out there that believe that she's a Skywalker, and there are some that don't. I have my own personal opinion on the matter, but in light of the recent trailer releases for The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of people are saying that she's a Palpatine. We will see. Now, there's another way that they can all be connected together, and that is through the use of the legacy lightsaber that was first created by Anakin. So it could be that the Chosen One prophecy doesn't pertain to an actual individual, but that it in fact actually refers to the Force choosing one person to fulfill its will at any given time. Now, it stands to reason that the Skywalker bloodline has been chosen in perpetuity, possibly, to always step up and fill that role. And in relation to Rey, how was she brought into the fold, so to speak? And it occurred to me that when she first touched the lightsaber, she had that Force vision. Was it the lightsaber's way, or should I say the kyber crystal, because obviously it's the kyber crystal that has the connection to the Force. It is the heart of the lightsaber, and apparently is very much, in a way, sentient and communes with the Force. Was it, in fact, telling Rey that it was choosing her at that particular time to fulfill its will, to fulfill her destiny? In a simpler way of putting it, is it like the expression in Harry Potter of the wand choosing the wizard? On a separate note, the Force vision that Rey had, I would like to do another video on that separately and explain my interpretation of what the lightsaber was showing her. But back to Rey's name being on the wall in the Jedi Temple and the possibility of the lightsaber choosing her. Was it the lightsaber choosing her, or was it something else? Or should I say someone else? And I will leave everything there on that note. Oh, before I forget, the second time I've said that in this video, but a friend of mine who I've shared all my theories with, when I told her about all the names and the image of the face on the wall in the temple, I asked her if she could see anything further in the movie, and she came back to me showing me a picture of two individuals side by side, and one looks like it's an unmasked Ben Solo, and the other one very much looks like Rey with her goggles on from The Force Awakens. And I think this represents that we know who Ben Solo is. Obviously, in the movies, he's been portrayed as Kylo Ren, but under that mask, he is very much Ben Solo and is trying to hide behind the mask. But interestingly, even though Rey takes the goggles off at the beginning of The Force Awakens, in the cave, she is wearing these goggles. So I believed at the time when I found out over a year, well, when my friend pointed out over a year ago, that Rey wasn't a nobody. She was going to be connected to someone, and that was going to come out in the Rise of Skywalker. Just to point out, a lot of people said that JJ alluded to illustrious beginnings for Rey, and that Ryan completely retconned that and said that she was a nobody. And it just goes to show that in that movie, she is portrayed as someone who is masked, very much indicating that it wasn't a open and shut case as we were led to believe. Additionally, in the visual dictionary for The Last Jedi, there is actually a reference to a character which is supposed to be a metaphor for Rey, and it very much indicates that this person isn't being completely open with who they are. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe for further content. Love and light.